When World War I began in 1914, most soldiers believed the war would be short. Generals imagined quick victories and decisive battles, based on how wars had been fought for generations. What they didn't fully understand was that warfare had quietly changed. Technology had advanced faster than military thinking, and once the fighting started, that gap became deadly. World War I became the first truly modern war, not because of why it started, but because of how it was fought. One of the most important changes was the machine gun. While machine guns existed before the war, many commanders underestimated their power. They still believed that mass infantry charges could overwhelm enemy positions. This belief quickly proved disastrous. Early machine guns could fire hundreds of rounds per minute, allowing a small crew to cut down entire waves of soldiers in seconds. On the Western Front, open fields became killing grounds. Soldiers advancing toward enemy lines were often mowed down before they could get close. Casualties mounted at a shocking rate, forcing armies to abandon movement and dig into the ground. This led to trench warfare. Trenches stretched for hundreds of miles across Europe. They were not simple ditches, but complex systems with frontline trenches, support trenches, and communication tunnels. Soldiers lived in these muddy networks for weeks at a time, surrounded by rats, disease, and constant danger. Trenches offer protection from bullets, but little safety from the next dominant weapon of the war: artillery. Artillery became the single deadliest weapon of World War I. Massive guns fired shells over miles, destroying trenches, collapsing bunkers, and killing soldiers without warning. Most deaths in the war were caused by artillery, not gunfire. Shelling could last for days or even weeks before an attack, leaving soldiers exhausted and terrified before fighting even began. The psychological toll was immense. Constant explosions shattered nerves and minds, leading to what was known as shell shock. Many soldiers were physically unharmed, but mentally broken by the relentless noise and fear. As both sides searched for ways to break the stalemate, they turned to chemical weapons. Poison gas was introduced in 1915 and quickly became one of the most feared weapons of the war. Chlorine gas burned the lungs, causing victims to suffocate. Later gases, like mustard gas, burned skin, blinded eyes, and damaged lungs long after exposure. Gas masks were developed, but they were uncomfortable and not always reliable. Poison gas created terror because it was invisible and unpredictable. A shift in the wind could turn it back on the soldiers who released it. While gas caused fewer deaths than artillery, its psychological impact was devastating. Above the trenches, the war expanded into the sky. Airplanes were first used for reconnaissance, allowing commanders to observe enemy movements. Soon, pilots began carrying weapons, and air combat was born. Early fighter planes were fragile, made of wood and fabric, yet pilots engaged in deadly dogfights high above the battlefield. Airplanes were also used for bombing, introducing the idea that cities and civilians could be attacked from the air. Though early bombing was inaccurate, it marked a major shift in how wars would be fought in the future. On the ground, another new weapon emerged to challenge trench warfare: the tank. Tanks were designed to cross barbed wire, roll over trenches, and withstand machine gun fire. Early models were slow and unreliable, often breaking down, but their appearance shocked enemy troops. Tanks showed that trenches were not unbeatable, and although they played a limited role at first, they pointed the way toward future mechanized warfare. At sea, technology changed warfare just as dramatically. Submarines, especially German U-boats, transformed naval combat. Instead of large fleet battles, submarines attacked unseen, targeting both warships and merchant vessels. Ships could be sailing calmly one moment and be struck by a torpedo the next. This form of warfare disrupted supply lines and blurred the line between military and civilian targets. The sinking of civilian ships caused outrage and helped draw new nations into the war, expanding the conflict beyond Europe. Technology also reshaped how wars were supplied and controlled. Railroads allowed armies to move troops and equipment faster than ever before. Telegraphs and telephones enabled commanders to coordinate operations across vast distances. Warfare became a contest not just of soldiers, but of communication and logistics. Industry itself became a weapon. Factories worked constantly to produce weapons, ammunition, and equipment. Entire economies were reorganized for war. Civilians became part of the conflict, supporting armies through industrial labor. Victory depended as much on production as on battlefield success. Medical technology struggled to keep up with the scale of destruction. Advances in surgery and emergency care saved lives, but hospitals were overwhelmed. Many soldiers survived terrible injuries, only to live with lifelong disabilities. World War I forced medicine to confront the realities of modern warfare. By the end of the war, it was clear that combat had changed forever. World War I replaced old ideas of honor and heroism with machines, industry, and mass destruction. The weapons developed during the war did not disappear when the fighting ended. They evolved, shaping every major conflict that followed. The war that began with confidence and tradition ended by revealing a terrifying truth. Once technology reshaped warfare, there was no going back.